the Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions podcast with Brent and Jody Bailey. We are growing our circles of connections and knowledge together with encouraging conversations and positive communications. Today, Brent and Jody welcome
author Mark Ostach.
And now, Brent and Jody Bailey.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions. It's Brent Bailey. I hope you're having a great day today. The weekend is here. Can you feel it? It's here. You did it. You made it through another week. Congratulations. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. We have Mark Ostach, who is a digital wellness coach, and we're going to let you in on what that is in just a little bit. Also, he's got a brand new book that just came out last year entitled The Courage to Connect. So you're in for a real treat today. I can't wait to bring him out and allow you guys to take some stuff in from him today. And first of all, though, let's head over to the booth, and Jody is over there.
I am here.
I don't have sound on my computer.
Oh, you don't.
So anyway.
No. Hey, we're here again. It's Friday.
It is Friday. It's
Friday.
It's great. It's great.
Yes, and it's a lovely day outside. I hope it's pretty for everybody else.
I was doing well and just turned the ACs off, so we don't like them,
hot.
And I started sweating immediately.
Yeah,
so it's
and
but we're in Florida, it's pretty much summertime here, so we're ready.
Yes. So it is. So today we've got a lot of things that are the National Day.
All right. Well,
okay. So first of all, it's Clean Beauty Day. Now, have you ever heard of that?
I haven't, but it sounds intriguing.
It's intriguing, right? It's encouraging beauty brand products for the brands to go clean and make sustainable products so that it's clean. I know it's kind of
like, what do
weird.
They mean by that? Like, do they mean
pure? Like it's not like no added
preservatives.
Yeah,
and things
no
like that.
added
All right.
junk that's in there. So that's what we consider to be clean. So
all right.
And then the next one, I almost hesitate to even say it, but it is Old Maid's Day.
Old Maid's Day, like the game.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
It's not the game, though, that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it is a game, and it's a fun game. But it is more than just recognizing the single older women, childless women.
Did you know any, babe? Did you know any growing up?
Yes.
I know several.
Yes, I know several.
And
yes.
I'm always conscious enough to not call them that to their face. But,
yes.
That is, What are we supposed to do for
But here's the thing. Recognizing there are so many single childless women, and there's a scripture that Paul wrote about something about I wish you all were single or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, he was.
So that you're not distracted by your family, I guess. I don't know. But what it is, it's a day to recognize those women who are doing something in their community, because you find a lot of single women that really they become powerful. And even though Hallmark movies wind up having the women get married or find a guy and everything, there's a lot of them that they're doing something with their life and they're making a difference in their community.
That's true.
They don't need a man to do that. So anyway, Old Maid's Day. So if you are, I'm not going to say would you consider yourself old maid. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So it is also National Cheese Day.
Oh, praise the Lord.
Yes, National Cheese Day.
That's like one of my favorite foods.
It is one of your favorite foods.
I have goat cheese and sheep cheese in the fridge right now that I've been eating like it's my job.
Yes,
like
it's really good. Yeah, it really is good. So Cheese Day.
Yeah. Have you out there, what's your favorite kind of cheese? Now, if I was going to drop in the comments below as you're clicking the share button and let us know what your favorite cheese is. We want to hear what it is. And it's not the kind that you cut.
No.
We don't want to hear about that kind of cheese.
Awkward silence right there.
My favorite kind of cheese, and I'm going to get your take on this too, because I know you're allergic, so you can't have a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
So, but about it's probably 7 or 8 years ago now, maybe longer ago than that. we were at my cousin's house, and she married a gentleman from England.
Yes.
And he actually had with him, they came over to visit everybody, and I think it was for Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And they had brought some award-winning cheddar cheese from Cheddar, England.
Yeah.
And it was 5 years old. It had been aged for 5 years. Now you think, how in the world? I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
But it was the
Really
most
old.
delicious cheese I've ever had in my life.
Now, some people say that kind of cheese really stinks.
I didn't think that cheddar. Now there
It
is
didn't-
stuff like
I don't know. I
is it
mean-
Musburger? Not Musburger. Some kind of burger cheese. Something.
Yes, I can't remember the name.
I don't remember. But there is I think it is Musburger. Musburger
It might
cheese.
be something like
Maybe
that. Let us
something
know.
like
Drop down in the comments and say.
there are some smelly cheeses out
Smelly
there.
cheeses, yes.
But since we've been doing this cleanse thing, this eating plan,
Yes.
we've discovered Manchengo, which is
Manchengo?
Manchengo.
Manchego. I say Manchengo.
It's sheep
Manchengo.
cheese. It's
Yeah.
delicious.
It's really good, and it melts really nicely too. Because you like to have like quesadilla or
Sure.
something like that. So
Who
it's good.
doesn't?
It's good. Okay, so let's move on. There's another food day that I really love this food, but I can't eat this food currently. Donut Day.
Oh yes, it is.
And you know what? I know you usually do these, but I'm going to tell you, Krispy Kreme is offering free donuts today. A free donut, not a dozen. Okay, so don't get too excited, but a free donut.
All right.
Okay.
You saw it. We were laying in bed last night watching. Jody had never seen John Wick, so we've been watching
Yes,
the John
we've been
Wick
watching
movies,
that.
getting ready because John Wick 4 comes out here before too long. We were laying in bed watching John Wick, and I just happened to just be flipping through my phone on Facebook, and my cousin, did you remember I showed this to you last night?
Yeah.
My cousin Michelle is a big fan of Krispy Kreme, and she
Yes.
posted her husband had bought her a bag of the Smart Food popcorn
Yeah.
that is now flavored with Krispy Kreme donut
I
flavored.
mean, I think that really would be actually very good.
It's not very smart, though. You know that they can't make that
No,
healthy.
you can't because it's got sugar, all crazy sugar in it.
So,
Yeah, but Krispy again.
what's
so,
your favorite kind of donut? There's the next question for
I
the
feel
day.
like we've asked that question before because I think there are a lot of donut lovers in the
Yeah.
world.
I like just a plain cake donut from Dave's Bakery.
Dave's Bakery in
with
Flatwoods,
peanut
Kentucky.
butter icing.
Yes,
Praise
that's
the Lord.
awfully good.
Make you speak in
Yeah.
tongues. All right, so
I like maple flavor.
maple
cake.
and with the bacon on it. Maple with the bacon.
See, I can do without the bacon. I really could do without the bacon. So, so we're gonna move on. So,
All right.
have yourself a donut today if you're allowed to. I probably will not. So,
I wonder if we could make one of those like you made
a ground flaxseed donut.
Well, what would we call that? Like fake nuts? I don't know.
Fake donuts. I don't know.
Dough fakes. There you go. Dough fakes. I don't know. We had flaxseed pancakes
You
a
could
couple weeks, and they
probably-
were really good. Really, not sincere.
Yeah,
They
it
were
is.
really
It's
good,
really
so-
good. So, okay,
right.
if you have questions about that, we'll let you know. Okay, I want to say one more. Even though I am allergic to cats, I'm not a big, I prefer dogs. Today is also National Cat Day. Now, I say that because one of our guests that we have had on the show, Liz Lazarus, posted on Facebook today a picture of her hugging her cat. So, National Hug Your Cat, not just Cat Day, Hug Your Cat
Have
Day.
you seen the video of the guy that him and his wife are going to get in the van? It's been all over the place. I wish we would have thought about this before we could have done it. But he's going to get in his van.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you hear a cat start really and it jumps on the wife.
Oh, gee.
And he runs around there and he grabs it and he picks it up and he's carrying it off.
Oh, yeah.
And then he looks at it and he goes, "Oh my gosh, it's a bobcat!"
Yeah.
And it is really furious at
Yeah.
him. So he throws it way. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it is very funny.
He throws it out into the yard and then they both run to get away from it. So
Yeah, so those are our
I
days.
personally don't care for cats.
I don't either.
I was over
They're pretty.
when we were in Kentucky over Memorial Day weekend. We were at my cousin's house, or he lives in my grandparents' old house, and they have 2 cats. And I was in there talking to your sister on the phone, sitting in the living room, the front room,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, one of those cats came in. I didn't even hear it, and it scared the living you-know-what out of me. Because I had my hand kind of hanging down, and, they like to be petted.
Yeah, they
and
do.
so it just stroked underneath my hand, and I was like, "Ah!" That's why I don't like cats. They're evil and they're sneaky and they.
Okay, all of you cat lovers don't write us hate notes.
Cut your finger off in the middle of the night. All right, here's a really cool food news as we're getting ready to wrap up the first segment here. Of course, if you've been to California or anywhere out west, I guess Texas now has them as well. In-N-Out is kind of like this big.
Oh, we love it.
It's some of the best hamburgers you'll ever have in your life if you can ever get to an In-N-Out. If you ever get to the West Coast or Dallas, Metroplex area, Las Vegas, Phoenix, that area out there, In-N-Out is a chain bigger than McDonald's in those places.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. And their food is delicious. Okay. They have released... Now, if you've ever ordered the French fries there, you know they come in that little boat, I guess is the right...
Yeah,
They have now released, and I think it would be cool to have one, a fry boat pool float.
Oh, that would be cool.
So it's what you lay in, but it's in the shape of the In-N-Out, and it's got the
In-N-Out logo on it.
All over it.
Oh my gosh!
With the little scripture on the bottom of it, because they're believer. So cool. The believer owns In-N-Out, and it's got the script. Everything about it is exactly the same, the same reality as that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then a lot of folks have been talking about Avengers Campus opening at Disney.
Yes. California Adventure.
They have a meal that they serve there at Avengers Campus called the Impossible Spoonful, and it looks like a giant ladle, like you scoop out soup with. It's giant though, and it's full of pasta and a meatball that is as big as your head almost, and that's what you eat out of the ladle. And that's at Avengers Campus right now. So if you get to Disneyland,
cool. That's cool.
Get over there and check that out.
Yeah,
so
check it out.
They have other great stuff in store for that as well. But anyway, all right, that's going to wrap it up for what's going on around the country today. I'm so excited to have our guest with us today. We both have a really good mutual friend, and so let's jump into it right now and expand your search. My guest today knows what it's like to feel disconnected. He lived compulsively checking his phone for over a decade. Now he's on a mission to teach people healthy digital habits so that they can improve their digital wellness and create deeper connections with things in life that matter the most. Mark Ostach holds a degree in psychology and technology with an interest in behavioral neuroscience. He is determined to remind the world that human connection is the most powerful connection that we have. He is a nationally recognized speaker on the topic of digital wellness. He has done TED Talks, and I believe this is going to be our first TED Talk guest that we've had. He has spoken to tens of thousands of people all over the country, encouraging them to embrace a culture of digital well-being. So, I know many of you are probably watching on your phone right now, but go ahead and check your phone one last time and be ready to be inspired today by our guest, Mark Ostach. Mark, great to have you with us today.
Brent, I love it. I love being here. I loved hearing about all the national cheese and hot dog and donut days. Awesome to be here.
Which one's your favorite? Michigan. Which one's your favorite?
Like your wife, cheese doesn't sit well with me. And when I married my wife, she got me stopping drinking beer, eating donuts, and eating less meat. So I'm about 25 pounds less than what I was 10 years ago.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome. Before we get into the book and what you're talking about today, this is our first chance to meet. I know that we've got a mutual friend, Dave Martin, connected us, and Dave speaks very highly of you. And from what I've found out about you online and stuff, I've been really looking forward to having you on. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how'd you get started doing this?
Well, thanks so much. Glad to be here. I'm here in Detroit, Michigan. I'm a father and a husband first. I've got two beautiful kids. Here's a little picture of my son, Joby, who's 6, and my daughter, Mila, who's 4 and a half. They are what keeps mom and dad on their toes. But in this kind of era of learning, living, and leading virtually or in a hybrid setting, it's given me the good opportunity to share the experiences that God's given me, both in psychology and technology, and kind of merge these two to begin discussing the psychology of technology. And as many of us in our windy career paths, after 15 years of spending time in kind of HR and consulting, I was laid off, and I thought, hey, this is a perfect time to go full-fledged into speaking and writing. So 2 years ago, I did just that. And the good Lord has been providing with opportunities to infuse energy and relevancy into this crazy world that we've been living in the last 18 months on ways that we can maintain and create human connection virtually and in our communities.
It sounds like a fascinating topic, and I know it's extremely relevant right now. I loved in your introduction where it said you were addicted to checking your phone for over a decade, and I'm guilty of that, as probably most people are. You just pick it up and flick it open just to see if anything's happened in the last 3 or 4 minutes. I know that I'm guilty of that, and I'm assuming that that's kind of what digital wellness is all about, is kind of to break those kind of habits.
Yeah, definitely. Digital wellness, the way that I describe it, is that it's more about the content behind the screens than it is the screens themselves. So going back to this metaphor around food, with eating things like donuts or binge eating pizza before you go to bed, you wake up not feeling well, like you're inflamed and bloated. And the same thing holds true for content. So our minds are fragile grounds for seeds to be planted of good things or bad things. And the content we view, whether we're binge watching Netflix before we go to bed or checking email first thing in the morning, those things impact our digital wellness. So if you begin viewing the digital calories that you consume on a daily basis the same way you are aware of the physical calories, you can begin opening your eyes to the digital wellness component of your overall well-being.
Talk a little bit about what digital calories are. What is that? How do we monitor that, or how do we even know what that is?
Yeah, as my phone's ringing right here, I thought I silenced it. But here's the thing: our digital life isn't going away. In fact, it's only going to increase. So the work that I'm doing is not intended to make you feel guilty about your current digital habits, and it's in fact just about raising the conversation about realizing that our digital lifestyle and the content behind our screens are impacting the way we think, feel, and interact. So if you look at, smoking in the 30s and 40s, everybody was smoking on airplanes and hospitals. Babies were on advertisements recommending which brand of Marlboro cigarette for mothers to smoke. And then now you see data that shows that, my kid's generation might be the generation that ends smoking, because we know that smoking causes cancer, et cetera, et cetera. So you look at the way we've just adopted the screen life. Everybody's got phones. Advertisements are geared towards a younger and younger audience. And there isn't a lot of education and awareness on, like, what is it required to be a digital citizen, right? Like, you go through sex ed in middle school and high school so that you're mindful of your sexual orientation and how to use that for the greater good of mankind. But you're given this phone at 8 years old and 10 years old, and hey, go have fun, and maybe I'll set a parental passcode on it without knowing how, what's happening on the other end of that screen and how it shapes your thoughts, your behaviors, and even your sense of identity.
So let's talk about that. How does it shape our identity?
Yeah, so as a lifelong learner and somebody that struggled with depression and anxiety and even having identity crisis, going through my early years as an athlete, my identity was rooted in sports. And then growing up kind of in a household and in an environment where I was reinforced in a positive manner, my identity began evolving into affirmation of others. So, in that people-pleasing mentality, I'm an Enneagram type 2 for those Enneagram profile takers out there. So as a healer or a helper, I've found my identity serving others, and that can be a dangerous struggle to have. So all that's to say is, as a late millennial, I remembered an era without phones. So some of those references were pre-internet. Now you welcome in the internet, and as I promote my business online, and as I look at the views and likes and comments from social media posts, I have to caution the amount of value I'm putting into those responses as they shape the success of my career, so to speak. So all that's to say is that finding your identity in things, for me, my identity is in Christ and the way that He defines me through Scripture and through His Word. And it's a daily practice that I have to, make sure that I'm combining my analog life with my digital life. So for me, spending 15 minutes in the morning journaling and reflection and prayer is a core strategy before I hop on my phone and, get on with the day's activities with emails and podcasts and social media posts, et cetera. So again, it's walking that balance, Brent, on ways that you're seeing when you're kind of feeling digitally bloated, or whether you're engaged in what I call the holy trinity of checking, Facebook, Instagram, Gmail, right? And you're finding yourselves just checking with the thumb, just you're doing that trinity of checking time and time again, and you might do it 15 times in 15 minutes, and you're like, for what?
Yeah.
Get up, get outside, get some movement going, go talk to your spouse, pick up the phone, call a friend, do some push-ups, whatever you got to do. Oftentimes we're just, sucked into the vortex of whatever's on the other end of the screen.
Yeah. I know that I'm as guilty as everybody on this, but I was working one time, and I picked up my phone while we were in a meeting and looked at it, did the unlock passcode, and then literally 30 seconds later just did it again. And
right.
The guy that I was working with, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, I don't really know. It's like an addiction process. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the book. You got a book that came out in the middle of last year called Courage to Connect. Great title. Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Thanks for asking. Courage to Connect is literally a book of stories that are intended to inspire meaningful connection. And in this kind of dichotomy of our online life and our offline life, it was my intention for the reader to be inspired by different stories that model connection. And then at the end of each story, you get a call to action to say, how would you apply what you've just learned to both your online or offline life? So as an example, I share a story about my father and I. We attended a Kenny G concert in Detroit, Michigan. It was an incredible show. We got to meet Kenny G.
Wow.
You wouldn't even believe it if I shared the full story. But in the process of the story, at the end, it asks the reader, how would you use music to connect with somebody online? So whether you share, your high school song, or whether you share a worship song that moved you that morning that you're then now looking to share online to create a positive momentum in that connection. Or offline, if you, pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, I'm going to leave my best buddy a singing voicemail, because I know when he gets it, it's going to make his day. So kind of using stories that create meaningful connection, and then asking the reader and inviting them to apply those principles online and offline. Wow.
Is there maybe, I know you just talked about the Kenny G show, but is there a smaller, quicker story that you could, maybe share with us real quick? One that stands out that.
Am I able to share my screen?
I don't know. We've never tried that before, but we'd be willing to give it we've got you hooked up here. So, if your screen.
Okay, let's give it a whirl. I think, let's see if I've asked if you can make me a co-host, Jody, if that's possible.
Okay. She's looking a little panicked, so I don't know. We're going to see what happens over there.
Not a big deal. Let's see. I'll try it one more time. In the meanwhile, when I guess I can just paint the Kenny G picture a little bit more. So my dad suffers from just kind of physical and mental health issues, and he's always in the back of my mind. When we grew up, we grew up listening to Kenny G's Breathless album in the 90s, and we would clean the house as my mom felt joy that we were tackling the honey-do lists. So I can picture the smell of Windex coming in, as my dad and I are spinning the 6-disc CD player listening to Kenny G. Well, my father found himself in the hospital 2 years ago on his deathbed, suffering from congestive heart failure, and finding himself literally on his deathbed with his brother and my brother on his bedside, praying for his life. And lo and behold, by the grace of God, he made his way out into a full recovery. And we found ourselves 2 months after that hospital incident at the Kenny G show. So we go to sit in our seats, Brent, and they're in the 10th row center. And while we're sitting in our seats, we find ourselves unable to actually go down through our seats because my dad's a big guy. He had a cane and he couldn't make his way. So we're actually not sitting in our actual seats. The show begins to start. The ticket holders kick us out and say, get out of our seats. And we look at each other and we say, let's test our luck. And we sat in the 11th row. And I share that detail because right before the concert started, the bass player came off the stage, put a crate in front of my father, touched my father's knee and said, you have the best seat in the venue. Now, this is a 10,000 person venue. And when he did that, the music begins to start, the lights began to dim, and out of the back of the amphitheater walks Kenny G, playing his saxophone to his first song, walks up to the crate that was set next to my dad and plays his opening set right in front of my father.
I got chills.
Literally a finger's touch away. So here I'm holding my dad's arm like I'm a child in his lap. We're watching Kenny G perform live. It feels like a personal serenade in front of 10,000 people. We're a concert of 2. And Kenny G even recognizes us from meeting us before. He gives my dad a wink while he's holding a note for 2 minutes long.
Oh my gosh!
And just the total emotional array that we felt in that experience was palatable. So that's an example of a story, Brent. And I've got some cool resources that I've got a video that shows that, but readers can check it out on my website.
That is incredible. And the as you were telling it, I could picture the arena, and I'm there with you, and I got chills when you were talking about that. It's incredible. What an awesome story. Folks, this is Mark Ostach, and we're going to have you back because we're just about out of time, but the book is called Courage to Connect, and you can actually pick up a copy of that on Amazon right now. It's stories that create meaningful connections in your life. And the truth is, everybody has these stories already. We need to be cultivating more of these on a regular basis. If you'd like to reach out to Mark or follow along with him, it's markostach.com. You can follow along on Facebook at mark.ostach, and then on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram at Mark Ostach. He's also got a YouTube page, Mark Ostach. Mark, it has been an absolute pleasure to finally meet you and to connect. And let's make plans to have you come back on and share some more of this, because there's some other things I'd like to ask you about.
Well, I appreciate the time today. Good luck with your podcast, and thanks to Coach Dave for getting us connected.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day. Take care, and get out there and make some connections. All right. That's Mark Ostach, everybody. And now let's stop for directions. God himself uses the phrase in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a companion for him who corresponds to him." That's out of the English Standard Version. This is the period in creation when Adam was hanging out with God in person. He was doing this on a regular basis. He actually had God put his hands on him and breathed life into him. They have a connection that we all wish we had with God. And God makes this huge statement at this point by telling the rest of us that we need other human beings in our life. And that brings us to what Mark was talking about today. Technology was never meant to substitute human connection. If anything, it was meant to enhance and further human connection. But we have a generation of people who are completely up on everyone's life because of technology, but they're spending less and less time together. We can watch church from the beach. We can appear at a child's birthday without driving cross town to get there. Jerry Seinfeld once said, "It's hilarious how many people call someone with the intention of leaving a message. They have no idea how to act when a real person picks up. Their response is usually, I was just going to leave a message." The original intention from God himself at the moment of creation was to interact, to learn about, and to know somebody. You can't get that from a tweet, a text, or even an email. When you do, you create the world that you think is happening instead of making a real effort to understand the people that are in your life. Allow the world that you, with your friends, your family, to be created together instead of substituting a sterile, cold version of reality. And all that it was because you decided that it was good for you to be alone. That's going to wrap it up for the show today. My thanks so much to Mark Ostach for coming and spending some time with us today. Check out his new book, The Courage to Connect, available now on Amazon. Thanks to my lovely wife, Jody, sitting over there at the tech booth, making all of this possible until next season. And I say that because this is wrapping up our Season 3 today, and we'll be back with Season 4 very soon. I hope that you found what you were looking for as you took the time today to expand your search and stop for directions. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @ExpandingYourSearch on Facebook and Instagram and @ExpandingSearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We're available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search and stop for directions.